What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the new slate of DC content coming, both from the movies and television. Now, James Gunn also mentioned gaming, which I'm very, very interested in hearing about because he mentioned it, I believe, 2 times in this video, but he didn't say anything about it. So I'll be keeping my eyes on that, for future videos. But we got the list, right? We got kind of their phase 1 or their chapter 1, I believe they are calling it. And I want to go over it. I want to start with also some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that he didn't talk about in the video, but they talked about kind of in quotes that people are grabbing, at least for Twitter, right? Regarding Ezra Miller and then also Aquaman 3. I want to start there. So the Ezra thing is pretty funny to me just based off of everything that's happened and everything that Ezra Miller as an individual has done. But of course, because they're seeking, counseling or, whatever, obviously they're totally fine and no harm could ever be done from them. So I've just always kind of laughed at that entire situation. I'm not one of these people that are going to tell you, if you see the Flash, you're enabling or you're like an awful person. I'm just talking about it as me from my personal standpoint. I've always said I'm not seeing the Flash. I'm not seeing Aquaman 2, but it's totally cool if you are. I truly don't care, and I hope you don't care, about what I think about these movies either. But it is just odd. It's odd with all of the stuff that they're doing with, and also, again, not saying things. Like Gal Gadot is totally gone, right? Like, for sure. They didn't talk about Jason Momoa past really Aquaman 2, although then a side tidbit is that Aquaman 3, they do plan on doing it. Now, again, I would bring up Amber Heard. Well, are you going to keep her in it or are you going to get rid of her? Again, you're kind of silent on those things, which is just, it's funny, not because I care too much, but if it was other situations, and it has been other situations, how quickly this stuff would have been snuffed out. And it's just pretty funny that these two, specifically Ezra and Amber, they literally can do no wrong in the eyes of these people. Doesn't give me the greatest trust of them, but that is kind of like a separate issue that I guess will just forever be around. But then we have the slate itself. And honestly, it's pretty good. Now, one thing you should know about me, this is just my personal opinions of it. I'm not a huge DC guy. At the same time, I'm not a big Marvel guy either. I don't know these kind of deep cuts. So when you get to like Booster Gold, I'm thinking, I have no idea. So when James Gunn explained who this individual is, that's the first time I had seen him, heard of him, or know his backstory. Like, it's the first time for all of them. So, and honestly, a lot of them come with that. I'm just not all that, into it. And maybe that's okay. I actually feel like that may help me. Now, I think those that are into some of these more deep cut squads or characters or whatever, they're pretty excited. I mean, I think Twitter, at least from what I've seen, is pretty darn pumped about, what he announced. I would argue even from somebody, myself, at least only my experience, not knowing a lot about this stuff, I'm kind of interested too because it's a fresh slate, right? And I do like the idea of all the more like miscellaneous things that there's Elseworld versus their actual DC universe, characters that are animated, and if they go to live action, hopefully, I mean, the way he said it was almost like, as long as it works, we plan to have the person voicing them also play them when they are live action. So there's a continuity thing that clearly is and that's literally how he started it, right? His opening to his 4 or 5 minute video was starting it off by talking about continuity and using the Flash to reset everything and then going from there. So that is incredibly important. And I do like that, right? If it makes sense that the voice actor can actually play them, why get somebody else to do it? Just actually do it. I like that. I like that when it's like even gaming turned into a show or a movie. If you can have the character do it, why not? I think it's like an extra kind of layer. Nobody knows the character probably better than them anyway. So I do appreciate that. So going through the list, let's look at Discussing Films Twitter really fast. Booster Gold, Swamp Thing, Paradise Lost, The Authority, Green Lantern, Amanda Waller, Superman Legacy, Creature Commandos, The Brave and the Bold, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And those are, they're not, I don't think they're in order. They're mixed between shows and movies. And seems like a lot of them, yet again, he was pretty silent on a couple things in terms of like release dates, I guess, being maybe the most important. We do know when the Batman Part 2, which I do like Part 2 over just the Batman 2. It sounds more like bold, I suppose. So you got that. coming in 2025, I think October. Superman coming July of 2025. So you get a couple release dates here and there, but a lot of those shows specifically, and I suppose the movies, they're not, they don't have any slates on them. However, he did kind of describe how one thing goes into the next, that goes into the next, and also trying things a little bit different, like Swamp Thing being, I believe he said, like a legitimate horror. Even like Supergirl, that movie, which I do believe he said was a movie, like that's gonna be pretty different. She's a different kind of character, and they're taking these different arcs that these characters have gone on in different comic lines and using that, kind of mixing and matching. Starting Batman with Batman and Damian. I saw a lot of people that really liked that idea. I like it too. And so you'll get another Batman casting. So you'll have the Batman separate, all those characters separate, and then you'll also have, this Batman that we'll have to get, a casting announcement on. So, overall, pretty solid. There's nothing like, majorly that jumps out. It is a general excitement from me, just that, okay, we can finally... Now, again, if he wants to go full scorched earth, which actually it doesn't seem like he wants to do. So I would have preferred he just went kind of all out, right? Again, the things that are the hang-ups for me, the Amber Heard and Ezra Miller thing will always just be, absolutely mind-blowing. But then, keeping some of them. You keep Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Seems like Peacemaker and that whole group is going to be the same. They're not going to change that. But, you don't talk... And yes, maybe you haven't made decisions on it. Maybe that's why you don't say. But... like Gal Gadot, it certainly seems like she's out, but is she actually? I mean, I imagine yes, but you got to say it. What about Margot Robbie? Clearly, James Gunn, we know he likes her quite a bit. Is she still Harley? Is she included in that kind of Peacemaker group? I don't know. Some of these things, and including like some of the talk about Ezra, and even like an Aquaman 3, why are we hearing about it in separate, you know what I mean? Like we're hearing about in interviews and stuff like that, like come out right after James Gunn's video. I suppose his video was supposed to just be, very direct, very, here's what we're doing. Continuity is important. The story is important. Let's list out the titles. Let's talk a little bit about them. We're not going to go into any of the other, I mean, I get it, right? It's very focused. It's a focused video. But, having the other stuff, some of these kind of, he talks about this is for us, and he knows, like, we're excited. He knows we want these answers. And then there's some things you could have just said in the video, being very transparent. Now, James Gunn has actually been way more transparent than I think anybody imagined, so that is definitely a positive sign, but I think there's more, still to come. So we'll see what happens. It doesn't seem like, you got Shazam and you got the stuff this year, but then it's going to be a while. I'm sure they'll try to do the TV shows to kind of bridge gaps, but in terms of the movie slate, I believe, right, Superman is the first one of the group that's going to be coming out. So you're going to have to wait 2 years before the first wave officially starts to kick off. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next